Good to see everyone. Welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I am streaming to you this class live from Budapest, Hungary, Central Europe. Otherwise, I am Canadian. I grew up on the west coast of Canada in the beautiful city of Victoria, British Columbia, for some of the students who are wondering before. Good to see so many of you joining in today's class. Hi Unknown Boy, hi Sainul Abid, hi Deepa Nepal. Yam Bahadur, send me an email. I'll show you my email address in a moment there if you need help with IELTS Task 2. We have some editing services for you. Good day and good evening to all of you as well. All right, so today we're looking at some grammar. Today's focus is grammar, and we're adapting it to a speaking part 3. To show you how it works, I'm going to focus on descriptive grammar. Descriptive grammar is very, very important for high band scores on the IELTS. Again, these lessons are coming from our websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, that's academicenglishhelp.com, and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. That's generalieltshelp.com. For those of you who watch our classes regularly and you're missing some of the videos that we had up on YouTube, all of those videos can be found on our websites. We have HD pre-recorded videos, and then of course we have all of these live streams archived on our websites as well. In addition, of course, we have a fully interactive course for you with all kinds of tips, strategies, skills that you can go through on your phone, tablet, computer, and 6 full practice exams with audio. You can download our app from your Google Play or iTunes App Store. Look for our logo, look for Academic IELTS Help. Just search for that and you'll find our app. You can also buy our exams in paperback. We have 2 books for academic IELTS. There's 3 exams in each, and we have 2 books for general IELTS. So if you're on Amazon, just search for AE Helps Academic IELTS or GE Helps General IELTS if you're doing the general IELTS test. All right, Yam, so here's the moment you've been waiting for. If you have questions about IELTS or our products like Yam with Task 2. Hi, Jeffrey. Good to see some members in class. You can send me an email. My email address is my name at aehelp.com. So that's Adrian at aehelp.com. And our turnaround is usually within 24 hours. You'll get an answer. We do have writing, editing, and speaking help on our websites as well, and we're building some really incredible new features in the next few weeks also for your speaking. So as we get going here, a quick look at our schedule. Classes, these live streams on YouTube are according to Central European time for the moment while we're here in Europe. Just to look at October 4th to the 9th. Today, a grammar lesson. Tomorrow, we'll do some reading practice. We'll do some speaking part 2 and part 3. That was a recommendation by one of our members. The topic will be being frightened. And then on the 7th, we'll do a members chat only. No class on Monday and Tuesday. All right, so students, let's talk a little bit about details in IELTS. Hi, Gurkarat, Charlie, Roshni, Kunte. Good to see so many students returning for more information. Here's a really, really key piece of information for both the general and the academic IELTS. As you're most likely aware, the concept of communication is 2 parts. One is comprehension and the other is producing information. So you can look at the IELTS exam, the 4 sections, the listening, reading, writing, speaking, as 2 sides of communication. So listening and reading, it's testing your comprehension, so how well you understand and interpret information. Writing, task 1 and task 2, and speaking, of course, it's testing how well you express yourself using English. And today, that's what we're focusing on. We're focusing on your English expression, okay? It's your ability to clearly express yourself. And that's not just how many words you know in English and how good your grammar is, but it's how effectively you use that grammar and that vocabulary. I see a lot of students, both in their writing and in their speaking, going into way too much breadth and not enough depth, okay? Breadth means wide, and depth means focused detail. The key to good band scores, again, is depth rather than breadth. All right. In your speaking, you're sitting there for roughly 12, 13 minutes with the interviewer. In your writing, you're sitting there for 1 hour with those two tasks. It's not a lot of time. Okay. In university, when you do a writing assignment, it's generally much longer than the IELTS. When you're doing presentations in real life, it's much longer than 12 minutes. So you can talk about a lot of different ideas and focus on a lot of different concepts. But in IELTS, hi Shanu, good to see another member jumping in. But in IELTS, your goal should be details, okay? And when you're practicing, getting ready for IELTS, you want to be practicing details. You want to be practicing expressing details, okay? So we'll look at a part 3 here in a moment for speaking to adapt that. Now, before we do that, let's talk about how you can give details. So how can you make your language, your writing more colorful? All right. And we've talked about this indirectly in various classes, even just the other week when we're talking about commas. So here's a little bit of information just to get you going. All right. So the most simple way to color your information is with adjectives and adverbs. Can somebody give me an example of a sentence that contains some adjectives? Any sentence will do here. Okay. So kind of it's the most basic way to make your information more detailed, more precise, right? So Naveen says he is very clever, very being the adjective. Sure, superb boy is okay, Robin, as well. Pineapple is a kind of tropical fruit. It's not really a simple adjective, Jeffrey. You want to keep these thoughts simple. So I bought a fragrant, large pineapple from the store yesterday. Okay, and again, this is a speaking class. We will be getting into some more specific speaking questions here. Anuradha says, Anna is a beautiful girl. So beautiful is a nice adjective. Sainul says, Virat is a good player. And you're using single adjectives, which is fine, but definitely practice at home getting into multiple adjectives. So not just a single adjective to modify that noun, but at least 2 adjectives, right? So I bought a fragrant, large pineapple. Here is my adjective 1. Here's my adjective 2. Both of these are modifying that noun. That's quite simple, okay? So hopefully all of you have a fairly good idea of how to do this, because even if you're going for a band 5, and I think most of you are going for higher bands, you need to be able to use these kinds of adjectives effectively, okay? Rajiv is honest and hardworking. Sure, that's some description there. Anoop as well. Here I was looking much more simple, just adjectives modifying the noun. So adjective, adjective modifying noun, right? How about adverbs? Can somebody give me an example sentence of an adverb? Let's see how well you do there. So give me an adverb sentence. But those are some good examples, students. So keep at it, okay? So that's your basic step number 1. Definitely don't just ignore these. So even if you have good English, it's still worth practicing this so you can come up with them quickly on the fly, especially in speaking. So let's see how well you use your adverb Okay. So Mohammed Hassan, that's a good one. Adrian explained the lesson clearly. So how did I explain it? I explained it clearly. So clearly is an adverb for the verb explain. Guki Rat Singh says he is very fast and quickly. Nope, quickly is not good there, Guki Rat. He is very fast is okay. He is running very fast would be a good one. Okay, it's the most simple way. He is running very fast and effective. He is running very fast and effective. That would be two adverbs here. Fast, very fast, and effective are all modifying the verb running, okay? So that would be your adverb, all right? Now, absolutely, when you're speaking, when you're writing, use adverbs, use adjectives. When you review your writing and your speaking at home, getting ready for IELTS, check to see, am I including enough adverbs and adjectives? Is my speaking, is my writing clear, okay? So that's right, Gukrat. They show the quality of the verb. So they express in more detail what the verb is doing. All right, so that's just the simple step kind of one there. Now we get into a little bit more complex grammar, a little bit more higher level grammar. By using what's called adjective clauses, okay? So for some students who are very grammar savvy, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about here. Can you give me some adjective clauses? And here I want to challenge you. Try to give me different kinds of adjective clauses. So give me an adjective clause for object, give me an adjective clause for a person or a location. So show me a variety of adjective clauses. Don't just use which. I know a lot of people, that's what they're familiar with. They learn which, and then they just get stuck on that one. And they forget that there are, or we use adjective clauses not just for objects, but for people and places and times as well. So you need to use different types of adjective markers for that, okay? So waiting for some good examples here. Yeah, Nayan, so those are the words that you need to use. Who, when, where, whom, which, right? To lead into your adjective clause. And still, I see too many IELTS students and too many ESL students avoiding adjective clauses and often using them incorrectly. And of course, that's why a lot of students avoid them, is because they're scared that they make mistakes. However, adjective clauses are really important for high band scores in IELTS. If you want to improve your IELTS band score in your writing and in your speaking by, let's say, 1 band, here's a tip. Learn to use adjective clauses well. Use them in your speaking, use them in your writing, and I promise you, your band score will go up at least half a band, but possibly more, okay? Robin Mali, okay, says, I know the place where I have visited. Good, that is an adjective clause of location. It's just an awkward sentence, Robin. So what do you mean by that? So the place where I have visited closed for tourists last year. So give me something a little bit better, Robin, a little bit more clear, a little bit more understandable, okay? Roshni says, when I go to the garden, there are beautiful flowers. Roshni, there's a couple mistakes there. It's a complex sentence. There's no adjective clause in there. Jeffrey says, Warsaw is the capital city of Poland where 3 billion people live. We don't do countable on billion, Jeffrey, but otherwise it's good, okay? And you're using location there, so that's great. Naveen says, pasta, which most people love to devour, is seldom healthy because it's full of carbohydrates. Nice sentence, Naveen. Good. And again, girls and guys, this is an IELTS class, and we will be focusing on speaking. So make sure you're repeating these wonderful sentences. Some of you are writing some really nice adjective clauses. So repeat, repeat, repeat. Okay, so Mohammed Wahab says, the car which is used to commute to my office is really fast. Okay, very good. Which is used. Okay, it's used by people in general, so it's a D on the end there. Muhammad says, people who study hard get good grades. I'll use that one. Here, I'll take yours, Muhammad, and I'll put a little twist to it to really emphasize the importance of adjective clauses, okay? So, IELTS students who use adjective clauses in the speaking and writing sections get higher band scores. How about that one for an adjective clause, okay? So the adjective clause here, for some of you that are going, okay, I'm not too familiar with this, Adrian, can you tell me a little bit more of what you're actually talking about here? Sure. So basically, what happens in this case is the entire phrase becomes an adjective that modifies the noun or the subject of the sentence. So here, the noun, the subject, is the IELTS students, okay? That's your subject. That's what we're talking about, okay? This is used when we're referring directly to the subject, okay? And we use who when the subject is the agent, so it's responsible for the action, because the students here are responsible for using the verb. It's the action, right? If it's the object of the sentence, then it's whom. Okay, it's the same as the difference between he and him. So IELTS students who use adjective clauses, so here this whole piece in the speaking and writing sections, so this whole piece here behaves like an adjective that modifies students, okay, or IELTS students, this noun. So if you want to really kind of think about this with an analogy in a simple way, if this were apple, this would be red. Okay, so this whole piece here would be red. So red apple, okay? But of course, it's much more complex here because we're talking about IELTS students and we're talking about all of this information being red, okay? And then what happens to them? They get higher band scores. So that's the object element of the sentence, okay? All right, Gorvi, I like to visit Canada because it's a very famous country is not an adjective clause, okay? Yes, Pachu, adjective clause is a relative clause because it's relative to this. The who is a relative word which connects this adjective phrase to the noun, okay? All right, so that's an adjective clause. And for adjective clauses, again, remember that when you're talking about people, it's who. When you're talking about places, it's where. Okay, so I'll do a couple of quick notes here. Keep this in mind. And when you're practicing for IELTS at home, make sure to practice all of these. Now, what is the magical word that can replace the who and the where and the which all with one word? I bet some of you will tell me this very quickly and go, hey, Adrian, this is a little cheat word. There you go. There you go. Very good. A lot of you know it. Sunset Swallow, first out of the gates. Good for you, Sunset Swallow. Sami, second place. Still very good. Jeffrey, third. Got gold, silver, and bronze. That, absolutely. Using the word that's the kind of the cheat, the little quick and safe way if you're not sure what you're talking about. That is very useful. I do suggest not overusing it in IELTS, okay? So it's all right if you use it here and there a few times. So you say that, but definitely practice at home using the more specific relative adverb, okay? So use the where, use the which, use the who, if you know what's right, okay? So Who and whom are for people. Okay. Which is for objects. Where is for locations. When is for time. Okay. And that is for all, pretty much. I'm just going to keep it simple right now. Okay, but again, try not to overuse this in IELTS. It is good to use it, though, if you're not sure, okay? Shabazz, yeah, objects are things, okay? Generally speaking. Events as well, sure. All right. So practice those adjective clauses. Now, what else can we do? We can do comma clauses, and we talked a little bit about this one. So again, remember, we're focusing still on these ways to describe. So the focus here, don't get lost. The goal of today's class is this here. It's grammar to add description to what you're saying and what you are writing, okay? Very, very important for high IELTS band scores. So we talked about adjectives. We've talked about adjective clauses. Give me some examples for comma clauses. So how can I make my speaking, how can I make my writing more colorful, more descriptive with using commas? And here, you should remember some of those ways to apply a comma in writing and in speaking that I taught to a lot of you last week, okay? So Raya says, students who often cheat are just harming themselves. Yeah, and there you're using the comma with an adjective clause, Raya. I'm looking for something a little bit more pure here where you're not actually using that relative adverb like who, okay? Mohammed Hassan says, I like English speaking, but I feel awkward. There you're creating a compound sentence, Mohammed Hassan, using but. So but is the more important element than the comma. Prabin says, I want to meet my grandpa if I have a chance to go to my hometown. Again, Prabin, you're just creating a complex sentence, which is great, but it's not really using the comma as a tool for further description. There you're just using it as a punctuation rule, okay? Vegan Jeffrey says, mango smoothies taste sweet, rich, and cooling. Jeffrey, you're using the comma there to create a list of adjectives, which is fine, but really you're just using the adjectives to modify the smoothie. So I'm still looking more for that additive comma clause. Okay? Let's see if some of you catch what I mean here. So Roshni says, Roshni Kunte, who has won 5 gold medals in badminton, is an excellent athlete. Okay? Roshni, I'm going to take your example and show you how you can do it with a comma a little bit more. I'll try to see if some of you are catching this, okay? So Roshni, a 5-time badminton gold medal winner, is an amazing athlete. Okay, so that would be a pure comma clause where you're using these 2 commas to create that additive information and adding more color and more description to your language, okay? So the way that you can check for this always is if you can take this out. So if I could just cross that out, then it's still a good sentence. So here, the sentence here is, Roshni is an amazing athlete. Okay, that's the most simple sentence. So if the examiner says, talk about an incredible athlete, and then my answer is, Roshni is an incredible athlete. Fine, that's great. I can add to that. So I can say, Roshni, a 5-time badminton gold winner, is an amazing athlete. So that's how you can use the comma And in your speaking, it's a short little break on both sides to add in that extra information. And it's good, great descriptive speaking and writing that will get you higher scores, okay? So I'm still looking for some of these students. I don't see quite this. And here, you know, of course, what some of you are doing is you're adding in that relative clause. So you're saying Roshni, who is a 5-time badminton gold winner. But when you use the comma, you don't have to write who is. The comma basically substitutes the relative adverb of who is, okay? So basically what you want to do here is use this in combination with adjective clauses in your writing and in your speaking, okay? Jeffrey says, Stonewall Jackson, an American historical figure, is a peace advocate. Okay, notice the corrections there, Jeffrey. Stonewall Jackson, an American, because A is a vowel, right? An American historical figure, historical is the correct word form, is a peace advocate is a better word form, okay? IELTS, not just a language exam, is testing your overall skills, Mohammed Wahab, all right? Prabin says, Dr. Jeff is a physician, won the Nobel Peace Prize, is an incredible individual. Prabin, I'm still working on that one. All right, but you get what I'm saying here now. Similes is another tool in English for adding more color, more description to your language. Similes, if you do a search for that on Google, you'll find lots of standard similes in the English language that are used commonly. Similes basically think about it as making similarities. And the most common way that we do it is with two words, like and as. Okay? So I had a pizza. It tasted like cardboard. That's a simile, okay? I ate a pizza and it tasted like cardboard, all right? So here, the like, you can use as also, is the simile. Now, with similes, you want to use, so I'm going into another step here, okay? So we've gone from comma clauses to similes. And here, what you're focusing on is use sensory language, okay? It's very important to use sensory language in your writing and speaking to have more powerful communication, all right? So let's get into this a little bit. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, so hang in there. I know this is, you're kind of thinking, where's Adrian going with all of this? But it will make sense, and you will get a lot of benefit from this. Your IELTS band scores will skyrocket when you use these in combination, especially in your task 2 and in your speaking. Give me a second, I'll get the picture back here for you. I think this is a safety feature on the camera to turn off after half hour. And even though in the settings I've changed it to never turned off, it still turns off. Doesn't listen to me. Okay. So let's go back to similes here just for a little bit more. So similes, when you're thinking of similes, think about what's called sensory language, okay? What are the 5 human senses? So what are the 5 human senses? And I'm not talking about ESP, which is our sixth sense, and some people think about that as well. But just the 5. The primary, the number 1 is vision. Absolutely, Jeffrey. So vision, or also known as sight. Yes, Kesra. Touch is another one. Absolutely. Taste. is another one. Absolutely. So hearing is another one. Yes, it's sight or vision, touch, taste, hearing, and very closely related to taste is smell. Some people argue smell and taste are actually one and the same. Okay, so smell, absolutely. So that's sensory language. Now, of course, for humans, the big one is vision. It is our most powerful sense. It's the one that we rely on the most. So a lot of our communication contains sensory information that's visual information. That is the primary. In my example here, what am I using? I'm using taste, right? I ate a pizza and it tasted like cardboard. So with similes, using like and as, you combine it with sensory language. And when you make that combination, you can really get some nice description going in your communication, okay? Now, one more that I want to add here is quantitative language. Okay, so I'm just going to add this one on the fly. So adding numbers to your communication. So I'll give you just a quick example here so we can get to our speaking examples. Okay, so here we go. I live far from work. Better way to say it is I live 60 kilometers from my workplace. From my work. Let's just keep it similar, okay? So quantitative language means language that we can count. It makes for more clear communication. Again, it's a type of descriptive communication. You're adding numbers to your language. Instead of just saying, I live far from work, which is qualitative, you change it to, I live 60 kilometers from my work. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and for those of you who have been hanging in there since the beginning of this lesson and going, all right, Adrian, all right, where are you going with this? What are you doing? Where are you going with this? 100 kilometers, Shanu, $10,000, exactly what we're talking about. I play football 2 hours a day, Mohammed Yusuf, exactly what we're talking about. Throw in that kind of language into your task 2, into your speaking. You're going to do much better. So what is your goal when you're preparing for IELTS? What should you do to increase those band scores? Combine these, okay? So combine these descriptive tools in your speaking and writing and watch your IELTS band scores skyrocket to the moon. Okay, of course there I'm using a little bit of descriptive language as well to show you how that beautifully, that colorful language works. So what do you need to do when you're at home? Well, you need to practice all of these, okay? When you write a task 2, go through your task 2, review your task 2 step by step, and have a look. Ask yourself, am I using adjectives here? Am I describing my nouns? Am I painting clear pictures here? Am I using adjective clauses? Very important. Am I using different kinds of adjective clauses? Of course, if you're speaking, you should be recording your speaking on your phone, listening back to that recording, and then asking yourself, am I using adjective clauses? Am I using different kinds of adjective clauses? Am I using who, which, where, when? Am I using that too much? Okay, if I'm using that too much, which ones should I be using instead? Okay, check for those. Also look for your use of commas. Am I using comma clauses? So am I doing this kind of a descriptive language? Do I have a good balance between these different tools in my speaking, in my writing? Am I using similes? If not, try to add some. Am I using quantitative language, or am I using too much qualitative language? All right, well, let's see how much of this you picked up from the class. Let's adapt it to some of these part 3 questions. So Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine you are sitting in your speaking exam and you've just finished part 2. You're feeling good and the examiner says, that is the end of part 2. Your 2 minutes is up. Please pass back the card, the note paper, the pencil, and now we will continue with part 3. For part 3, I'm going to ask you some more questions related to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about art and art value. And here some of you are going, oh, I don't know anything about art. I don't want to talk about art. I don't like art. I don't go to museums. I don't buy art. We all like art. We all pay attention to some form of art. It's in our nature. If you like video games are a form of art. That's why they keep getting more beautiful, more 3D, etc. There's a lot of different types of art. Music is a type of art. Theater is a type of art. Paintings, pictures, posters, movies are a type of art. So if you hear something like this, please don't freak out. All right? I've heard students freak out when they hear this and go, I don't do art. Okay? Language, Naya, absolutely. Literature is another form of art. Poetry. All right? So art is all around us. Don't get freaked out. Just focus. So the examiner asked this question, and repeat after me, okay? We are doing speaking here, so repeat after me, the questions and the answers. So what makes a work of art valuable? Why are some works of art very expensive while some are not? All right, students, so give me a good response for this. Now, as you're answering, as you're thinking about your answers, don't forget the focus here is using descriptive language. You don't have to overkill, okay? So I don't want to see 10 sentences of crazy descriptive language within reason, okay? But try to put some adjectives, adjective clauses, comma clauses, sensory language in there, okay? So, Amit Bastakoti says, art is not just painting. Art can be a mythological book, which you had read in your class. It can be fashion. It can be painting of Mona Lisa. Sure. Now, here, focus on the question. What makes art valuable? Why are some works of art very expensive, while some are not? Okay? So, give me some nice sentences, please. Okay? Full sentences. Mujibur Rahman, it appeals to viewers. It's a good answer. It'll get you a 4. There's very little description there. It's very, very short. So Prabin says, art is an expression of feelings in different ways. Yeah, but here, target the question. You have to answer this actual question. If you're not answering this question, you're not getting high band scores, okay? So Joseph says, art is valuable when people understand a deep message contained in it. Okay? It's a good start, Joseph. You're kind of going towards an adjective clause there. Don't say you, Joseph Deepak. You're not speaking directly to your examiner when you're answering such a question. You should be saying when people or when observers, when viewers, when individuals, okay? Naveen says, as far as I can tell, art which conveys the insight of the artist exactly is often very expensive compared to art which is just drawn by seeing the object. Naveen, that will get you a 9. Okay, I made a couple of corrections there, but with those corrections, that's a band 9 response, which exactly conveys the insight of the artist is a very nice use of an adjective clause there. Okay, very good, Naveen. Jeffrey says, I believe it is the message of the art which is conveyed by the painter. I missed the rest of it, but you're kind of along the same path there, okay? Hermeet says, art becomes valuable when the designer puts hard work and dedication into it and their true talent can be observed. Sure, okay. So Sunset Swallow says, when a piece of art is extremely different from common everyday pieces, it will often become priceless, especially those which stand the test of time and culture. Okay, so add in those adjective clauses. Absolutely. So here we go. Let me just grab one of yours. I'll take kind of what a couple of you said there. Naveen, I think, was the first with that one. So art, which expresses the emotions of the artist in a unique and powerful way, is often highly valued, as where art, which is simple and crude, is worthless. For example, the Mona Lisa is regarded as is worth close to $1 billion because it elicits powerful thoughts from the observers. Okay, so I took a little bit from what some of you said and I added to it. Now, of course, I'm showing you band 9 here, and we are using that very descriptive language. So art which expresses the emotions of the artist. So here's my adjective clause right away, in a unique and powerful way. So more description there, more adverbs there, is highly valued, highly, another adverb for valued, as where art which is simple and crude is worthless. For example, the Mona Lisa, very visual, so I'm using descriptive language here, is worth close to $1 billion. $1 billion, quantitative language, because it elicits powerful thoughts. Okay, so again, adjective, noun, from the observers, all right? So lots of descriptive language using different tools of quantitative language, adjective clauses, adverbs, adjectives, all rolled into one response. Of course, you're going to get band 8, 9 for that, all right? Okay, and I see some good examples coming up now from Mohammed and Roshni and Preeti and Kesra. Good for you, all right? All right, let's take the next question here. So, do you believe art is a worthwhile endeavor for human beings to pursue? Now, some of you might think, oh, what is this question asking me? Worthwhile. So, in a very simple way, this question is asking you, do you believe art is a worthy activity? So don't overthink it. Just simplify it. So do you believe art is a worthy activity for human beings to pursue? Why? Okay. Again, give me an answer for this one. Make sure you're repeating here, everyone, when I'm saying the question, as well as when I'm reading the answers of students and myself. So here, worthy activity for human beings to pursue. Give me an answer. Include descriptive language. If you used adjectives, adjective clauses, try to do something different. Try to use a comma clause in this case. Try to include some sensory language if you haven't done that, okay? So give a clear, nice response. Perhaps throw an example in there, okay? All right. Waiting for some of those nice answers. All right. While I'm waiting, I'll start typing my answer. I'm guessing some of you have already started typing your answer, so I'll get mine up there while you're typing. Yes, most definitely, I believe that art is a very important activity for people to pursue. Not only do people who partake in art expand their creative thinking, but they also develop their emotional world. My friend John, an avid painter, is very expressive, as he has been into art for more than 2 decades. Okay, let me see what you came up with while I was writing that, okay? Hamjung Devkata says, yes, in my opinion, art is not only for fun, it is a result of hard working. It is a result of hard work and practicing talent. Hamjung, you want to revise that a little bit. Pay attention to those corrections. Gurkarat Singh says, yes, I agree with this. Without art, life is bland as a statue which does not show expressions. Nice one, Gurkarat. I like it. You use the simile there with the same, okay? Life is same as a statue. That's a nice use of simile. Good for you. Mitesh Maheshwari says, yes, art is important among many human activities because people develop their communication through artistic expression. Again, some corrections there, some grammar, okay? Kesra says, it is going to be worthwhile endeavor to pursue art, and it is aligned with solving issues of community and uplifting the morale of society in ways which demands commitment of the artist to their people. Kesra, quite complex. You have some mistakes in there. You want to correct those, otherwise it's awkward and difficult to understand. Okay, Saeed says, yes, I believe that art is a worthy hobby to pursue because it allows people to utilize their left brain, and a picture is worth 1,000 words. Very good. So again, you're using some good descriptive language there. That was excellent, okay? Kesra, never apologize for mistakes in language. Just focus on correcting them and moving on, okay? Naveen says, yes, definitely art is useful in everyday lives of individuals. It fosters the energy levels every morning toward their goals. When they see the art on the wall, they may be, it might be in the more common place in their house. First part, Naveen, is clear. Second part, a little bit confusing for me. All right. Murasa, yes, in my perspective, art is a worthy activity for people because through this, artists deliver some knowledge of beauty to others as well as motivate them for deeper thinking. Murasa, that's a good answer. You might want to give an example there to make clear what you're saying. Watch your punctuation as well. There's no period after people, and there's never a space before a period or a comma, Urvashi. Okay? All right, girls and guys. So, Here is the next question. Let's take one more from here, and let's practice our descriptive speaking a little bit more. Art is displayed in publicly funded galleries and museums all over the world. Do you believe this is a positive usage of taxpayer money? So, give me a good answer for this one. Art is displayed in publicly funded art galleries and museums all over the world. Do you believe this is a positive usage of taxpayer money? Again, remember, your focus is descriptive language. So describe your thoughts with details. Okay? Of course, where that can come into play is often with your example. So giving a good example. All right? Meanwhile, I'll read some of the answers. While you're thinking about this, I'll read some answers to the previous question. Shruti Maharajan says, yes, obviously, I believe that art is a worthwhile activity for human beings to pursue because it provides meaning and information to reflect emotions, creativity, and passion. Shruti Maharajan, some really nice descriptive words there, okay? So that's a great use of vocabulary, okay? So you're using some nice adjectives. Excellent. Okay, while you're thinking of your answers and you're writing it down, I'm sure that's what some of you are doing, I will do the same for this one. Yes, I do think that when taxpayer money is used to support galleries and museums, it benefits society by balancing wealth among artists and businessmen. Often, artists do not get recognition if there is no public support. All right. So here I'm using an adjective clause with time. So when taxpayer money is used to support galleries, I don't have too much description here. I could make it a lot better. Giving an example here would be a very good idea. So you can think about that later on. I'm going to look at some of your examples here and see how you did. So Sharath Padiath says, yes, I strongly believe it's the right way of using citizens' money, as art can bring enlightened values to culture and tradition in a otherwise mechanical world. I would say it somehow like that, or finish it somehow like that. Joseph Deepak says, yes, I agree that this is a positive usage of taxpayer money because it gives back to the society the same as a tree that bears sweet fruit. Support for artists gives back value to society like a fruit tree that's nurtured to produce sweet fruit. Okay, now make sure that if you're using these similes, they are understandable, or the listener can imagine them. But that was very good. That's why I stopped there for a second and grabbed that little gem from that student with that nice simile and put it in there for some more description. That was great, okay? Mohammed Hassan says, definitely art exhibitions are beneficial for locals and tourists alike. Art is a reflection of culture, especially historical paintings and statues that express national history. For instance, Egypt's displays of pharaohs, gold masks, the Sphinx, reflects its ancient roots. Very good, Mohammed Hassan. All right, girls and guys, here's a quick snapshot of a few other questions. The examiner in part 3 here might say, okay, let's talk a little bit more about aesthetic experiences. And then here are 1, 2, 3, 4 more questions for you to tackle. I challenge you for homework to write or record on your phone, MP3 please, some answers to these using the descriptive tools and grammar that we talked about today with adjectives, adverbs, adjective clauses, comma clauses, similes, and quantitative language. You can look at this video, pause it for those questions. In about an hour, it'll be up on the channel. Send them to my email. I will gladly give you a bit of feedback, at least let you know the score that you would get using that kind of a response. Again, here is my email, adrian@aehelp.com. Lots and lots of beautiful answers from a lot of students who are in the chat today. So good job to all of you. Hats off. You are improving leaps and bounds, many of you that are following these classes regularly. So good for you. Jeffrey, it is undoubtedly beneficial to the community. These artists dedicate their lives for their creations, which can be inspirations to those who appreciate them. Excellent answer, Jeffrey. Excellent answers. A lot of you out there. I'm really, really proud of you. Hats off. Again, use this type of descriptive grammar, these descriptive tools in your IELTS speaking and writing, and your band scores will shoot to the stars, okay? So they will reach the stars. They will get band 9. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Tomorrow we will be looking at some reading practice. It's always good to get in. Again, if you want all of our tools, our full course, we have over 70 or 80 videos like this class and many more and HD recordings on our websites. Join us, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com general IELTS. Spend a few dollars, save $300 of not having to do that exam again, and also get a high score. Be proud of yourself and don't stress about it. So spend a little, save a lot. Hopefully you listen to my advice and join there. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Again, remember, you all have beautiful minds. Just keep at it. You will master the English language and communication. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.